So now I'll begin adding some uniqueness, adding in some asymmetry to the model. So I'm going to switch back over to my Move tool, and I'm going to press on X, which gets rid of my symmetry. I think what I'll do here is make this socket the larger one, and this socket the tighter, angrier one. Give him a little bit of a snarl, let everyone know who's boss. Define my cheekbone a bit more. I want this cheekbone to be larger, again, just to lend to that whole asymmetrical feel. Let's see, that one looks good. Maybe bring out our mouth a touch more. Maybe even bring that down. And then I'm going to lower my brush size so that I can come in here and pinch this area in a bit more. Give it a bit more of a defined area. And yeah, let's definitely make sure our nose is not perfect. That wouldn't be fun, because this bad boy's definitely been in a number of fights over the years. Okay. Now I want to make sure that I move the entire portion of the skull off to the side. I can do it by hand, and it's not necessarily going to be an issue, but I'll just show you kind of a quick little way of how I can move it by not touching the rest of the skull. So I'm going to zoom out, okay, and I'm going to actually hold down the control button, which opens up my mask, and I'm going to paint a mask in the general area of the higher part of the skull that I want to move. And now I'm going to hold down control again and just tap on the screen off of the model. And what that does is it reverses the masking. Now if I hold down control and tap on the actual object or mask part, what that does is soften the area. So I'll do that twice just to soften the area I'm working on. And I'm going to increase the size of my Move tool and move this portion of the skull over, because I want this to be also asymmetrical, like that. Okay, and I'll lower my brush size just to go ahead and give that a bit more the uniqueness, because I do want this skull to have a bit more of a ridge as opposed to just being inflated. All right. So once again, I'll go back and make my brush bigger, and now literally just push from the top down. Let's see how that looks. Good. It's a little bit too indented here. I'm going to fix that, and I'm going to actually show you how I do that. So I'm going to hold down control, and then this time I'm going to drag. I'm not going to just tap. If I tap, it reverses. If I drag, what it does is it removes it. So this is an interesting trick. I've got this ridge here, and I can obviously make my brush smaller, and I can move it in, and that's a mistake. So if I want to try to fix this, and I'm going in and doing it this way, it's going to be all bumpy and ridgy, and what I want to do is actually just take this whole swatch out in one go. And so what you do is we don't want to do it in our level 6 because we have all this detail, all this tight detail. If you bring this down to, let's say, a level 3, and now I can move that whole area at one time. I can even hold down shift, and I can just hit it with a little bit of the smooth. And then you have to be careful as you increase, because sometimes it will come back. So I'm going to once again smooth again at the level 4. I'm going to be careful at 5 because that's just 1 under 6, but you can see that whole ridge is kind of taken care of. Maybe just a little bit more here. Awesome. I think I do want, and I'm being nitpicky right now, but that's how it goes when you're in control of the art. All right. Just want to inflate that part just a little bit more. Cool. So I'm very happy with that. So I'm good. I'm going to make sure I go back up to my level 6. And again, you've got all this great detail that's been in there. Now, one thing I haven't covered, and this is super important, save and save often, right? This way you don't lose that much work and time. So I'm going to just save this out. It's automatically defaulting back to my book, so I'm just going to save it as Skull. So we're pretty good. I'm at a point now where I think I can actually stop. I'm going to detail this out later on, but for now this is all I need.